Are you tired of surface level interactions in Portugal? You can smile, say bon dia at the cafe, you can wave at your neighbours, but it never goes deeper than that. Well, today I'm going to show you the exact conversation starters and strategies that my students use to turn those polite encounters into genuine Portuguese friendships. My name is Liz and I've been teaching European Portuguese for over 5 years now. I've helped hundreds of students go from feeling isolated and lonely to having rich social lives filled with Portuguese friends. Students like Sharon, who became close friends with her neighbour Amalia, and they now explore Faro together. Or Todd, who delivered a Thanksgiving toast entirely in Portuguese that made his 80-year-old neighbour Maria beam with pride. By the end of this video, you'll know the 3 best places to meet Portuguese people naturally, 15 conversation starters that actually work, and the pronunciation secrets that make people understand you and take you seriously. So first up, where should you actually go to meet Portuguese people? Well, let me give you 3 ideas. Number 1, have a regular spot where you show up consistently. This could be the local cafe, the gym, the park where you walk your dog. The key is this consistency piece. When people see you repeatedly, you become familiar and you're not just another tourist passing through. Number 2, hobby groups or classes. This could be football clubs, book clubs, Pilates, community walks, volunteering. You already have something in common with these people who turn up to do the same thing, so that takes the pressure off. Like my student Melanie, who took the plunge and joined a monthly creative knitting group. Now she brings her neighbour along, she's made friends with Portuguese ladies across different generations, and she's even helping a 73-year-old woman with dementia relearn her knitting skills, or using her Portuguese. The third idea, and probably my favourite, the neighbourhood events and local festas. So things like Santos Populares, sardine grills, local markets. People are in good moods, they're enjoying food and drink, and everyone's more open to chatting. And the key with all 3 is you're not forcing anything, you're just showing up where people are naturally gathering and letting conversations happen organically. So now let's get into what you're actually gonna say. I'm gonna give you 15 phrases and we're gonna focus on getting the pronunciation right, because that's what makes people really understand you and take you seriously. So first of all, we're gonna nail our greetings. Don't just mumble a quick hola, we can really commit to it with bom dia, which is good morning or good day. Now, the big thing I want you to remember is that that M is not a M sound. We don't say bom dia. Instead, words that end in an M tell us we have to nasalize the vowel that goes before it, so we have to make it a nasal O. Bom, bom, really put it through your nose. Bom dia. The next one, of course, is boa tarde. Boa tarde. That's afternoon, and you can give this greeting if we're past 12 p.m, say. Now, I know these pronunciation rules can feel really overwhelming in the beginning, which is exactly why I created a free pronunciation guide with native speaker audio that covers 7 of the trickiest sounds in Portuguese. Just comment guide below and I will send it straight to you. It's going to make a massive difference in how people respond to you. Now, if you want to introduce yourself naturally, we're not going to say, my name is, that's too formal and robotic. You can just say, sou a Liz, and add your name if you're female, or sou o João, for example, if you're a man. This simply translates to I'm Liz or I'm John. Now, the pronunciation of sou is tricky. Most people see this written down, the OU, and they think of oo, like the name Louise. We would say Lu if we see an OU in English. In Portuguese, that's not what we're going to do. We have to produce both the O and the oo sound, and then blend them together to make one sound. I call these vowel pairs to make it simple, but they're actually called diphthongs. 2 letters working together to make one sound. So practice it with me. O, oo, o, oo, o, so a Liz. Now, with that A that comes before my name, because I am female, it's not going to be an open A, it's going to be a closed A, Liz. And the U before o João, again, it's not an O, it's an U. I have actually made a whole video on closed vowels and how to pronounce those correctly, so check that out if you are interested to go into a bit more detail of that. And I have also made a whole video on how to make a great first impression with great pronunciation as well. I'll link that in the description too. So now we have done our greeting and introduced ourselves, it's time to ask some questions to keep the conversation going. Here are some examples. Há quanto tempo vive aqui? How long have you lived here? Now let's break down that pronunciation. The first word, a. This is a bit tricky because we have to remember that the H is silent. Then how do I know if this A is open or closed? I was just talking about a closed A earlier on. This one is going to be open, and I know that because it has an accent on it. So I tell my students to think of this accent that goes upwards like an open door, so that they remember they have to open the vowel. So this isn't going to be a closed A, it's going to be an open A, a. So that first word is a. The O's at the end of quanto and tempo need to be a nice U, that same U that we had before the name, O João, okay? Remembering that an O sounds like an U on the end of Portuguese words is really important. And finally, the word aqui, here. Here we are back to our closed A. It's the same A that we would use in the words away, about, aqui. Another one to get to know their story a little better, é daqui, are you from here? So you've probably noticed the same accent above this E. Remember, that's an open door, so it tells me to open the vowel. So this is going to be a nice E sound. Practice it with me, E. Something that everybody usually likes to answer. Pode recomendar bom restaurante? Can you recommend a good restaurant? Now, you've hopefully noticed the word bon in there, just like we had in bon dia, and you've remembered we don't say a m, but we nasalize that O. Bon restaurant. Then the tricky thing about this sentence is we have two words beginning with an R, okay? There are two options for this in Portuguese. We could say re, it's called the voiced uvular fricative. We have to make some friction in our throat, re. Or we can roll the R, r. It doesn't matter which you choose, just be consistent with whichever one you choose. So practice these words. Recomendar, restaurante. Keep practicing because it's very tricky. This is usually a really good one because people love to tell you more about the things that they like and to feel helpful. Next one, when you've been chatting with somebody for a little bit and you want to get to know more about what they like to do in their free time. O que gosta de fazer nos tempos livres? O que gosta de fazer nos tempos livres? So we've got some of the similar sounds that we've been working with already, so hopefully this is all starting to click and improve a little bit in terms of your pronunciation. That O by itself, once again, is an U. But the thing to look out for in this sentence is we have a lot of S's. And in this instance, in these words, they are all a sh. Gosta, nos, tempos, livres. This is one of the things that can really make you stand out as speaking good Portuguese, because people often forget to do this, give it a s sound, and they sound way more Spanish. But remembering to put the sh's in the right place is going to make you sound so much more natural in Portuguese. This question is of course great for hobby groups or when you want to find common interests. Another helpful sentence to help you get to know if things are going on around you that you could possibly join in with. Conhece algum grupo ou atividade por aqui? Conhece algum grupo ou atividade por aqui? Do you know any groups or activities around here? Now, the tricky thing about this first word is we have an N and an H together, working together to make one sound, nya. So it's kind of similar to the diphthongs, the vowel pairs I was talking about earlier, but because this is two consonants, we call that a digraph. So again, let's practice. An NH is a nya, nya. Conhece, conhece. Then the next word ends in an M, so hopefully you can now tell me what I should do to the vowel that comes before it. Yes, I have to nasalize it. I'm not going to say a M sound, but I'm going to nasalize the U. algum, algum. If you can get those two right, you're going to be saying the sentence really well. Now, if you are talking to your neighbours specifically, I have got an entire video with 13 phrases for chatting with your neighbours that I will link in the description. But here are a couple of essentials. Há quanto tempo moram aqui? Há quanto tempo moram aqui? So we're starting to see some of the same words come up here now. Há quanto tempo and aqui, we already know all of these. So as you can see, your Portuguese vocabulary is already building up from just watching this video. If you're feeling super social, you can ask, quer tomar café? Quer tomar café? This is something that I did with my neighbours when I moved into my first house here in Lisbon, and I'm so glad that I did because it really helped to strike up a good rapport with the neighbours immediately. So here are some questions to help you ask about those all-important cultural and neighbourhood events. Há alguma festa ou evento esta semana? Há alguma festa ou evento esta semana? Next one. Qual é a tradição aqui? Qual é a tradição aqui? What is the tradition here? Now, this word tradição can be a little bit scary to look at, but let's break it down. The tilde over the A, so the worm or the squiggle, whatever you want to call it, tells us we have to nasalize that A. Ow, ow. And then the C with the other squiggle, the little beard I call it, that's called the cedilla, and that makes a K into a S. So the easiest thing to do is just chop off that ending and practice it by itself. São, são. Then we add in the other syllables. Tradição, tradição. Lots of people get confused when they see that C with the beard and want to make it a sh, but it's not, it's a S. São, tradição. Now, you may have noticed that words that end in shun in English end in são in Portuguese. You are not making that up, and I have also done a video of this where we look at the little hacks to see how we can turn an English word into a Portuguese word by just adding the appropriate ending. It's really helpful and you will realize you know way more vocabulary than you think. Another question about the local culture and traditions. Como se celebra? Como se celebra? So that's how do you celebrate. So for example, I could say, como se celebra Natal aqui? How do you celebrate Christmas here? And then people would go on to explain to me exactly how they celebrate it in that particular town. And finally, some useful follow-up phrases to move the conversation forward. I love this one. Posso juntar-me a vocês? Posso juntar-me a vocês? This is wonderful because you are asking if you can join a group. So maybe people are sitting at a table or having a drink at the bar and you've been chatting to them and you would like to join them. This is the question that you can ask. The two pronunciation pieces I want you to look out for in this phrase is the m. Most people see me written down and think, I know that word, me. But it needs to be a closed E in Portuguese, okay? So not juntar-me, but juntar-me. Then the E with the little hat on in the middle of vocês. That is a middle E. Again, that's what the accent is telling me. It's saying make this a middle E, and also put the stress here. So it's not vocês, it's vocês. And finally, a great one to use when you've had a good conversation and you want to see that person again. Vamos manter contacto. Vamos manter contacto. Let's stay in touch. These phrases are what turn a one-time chat into an actual friendship because you're showing that you want to see them again and not just have a polite one-off conversation. Now, here's the reality. You are going to get stuck for words. It happens to everyone. The simplest solution would be just to ask, como se diz? Add the word in English, em português. Como se diz? Table, for example, em português. So you are turning this moment where you don't know what to say into a learning, teachable moment. If they don't speak English and you want to find the word you are looking for example, you can say, como se descreve? How does one describe? Kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for here? So say you were looking for the word storm and you don't know that word, but you know the words for rain and thunder, you could say, Como se descreve quando chove muito e há trovões? Hopefully they will be able to answer and say, tempestade. Storm. Now, if you want structured help building your conversation skills from scratch, I have created a free 60-minute workshop called Speak Portuguese Like a Pro. It's the ultimate quick start guide to covering pronunciation and essential grammar. The link is in the description, and I promise it is the best hour you will spend on your Portuguese learning journey. So here's your homework. Pick one of these phrases and use it this week, and then come back and tell me how it went in the comments. Don't forget to comment guide below for my free pronunciation guide with native speaker audio. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Liz, what if I use these phrases and then I get stuck? What if they ask me something and I freeze? Well, that's why you need to watch this video next. It's called Do This If You Are Stuck for Words, and I give you 4 strategies to keep any conversation flowing, even when your mind goes blank. Click here to watch it now, and I'll be back next week with more tips and tutorials to improve your confidence and conversation skills in Portuguese, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a thing. Ciao for now.